I built a $10,000 SaaS website in 1 hour using AI. In 2023, I was building SaaS websites for clients and was charging between $3,000 to $5,000 per project. Each one of them took me 3 to 4 weeks to complete. Today, I want to show you exactly how I now build $10,000 websites in 1 hour using AI tools. I'm going to walk you through the entire process step by step, showing you the exact workflow that has completely transformed my freelance business. So this was basically my workflow back then. Wireframing in Figma, designing custom website prototypes, then slowly building in Webflow, a ton of back and forth, revisions, and wasted time. And this is my workflow now. The difference isn't just in how fast it is, it's how I completely changed my approach to web design to deliver more value in less time. So here's the thing. So many incredibly talented designers are being trapped. Just look at this. There are brilliant designers who are spending 40 plus hours on a single landing page. But this in itself isn't a problem. The problem is that a lot of them are charging just $2,000 or sometimes even less for all that creative expertise and hard work. Your design talent and creative vision are super valuable. What if you could focus 80% of your time on high value creative work that only you can do? This is what I'm going to show you today. Now this is a SaaS website where I challenged myself to focus my design expertise on the elements that truly matter. I set the goal of completing it in just 1 hour. And by the way, if you're unsure how to sell more expensive websites to clients, stay tuned because I will share my exact way later in this video. So enough of the talking, let me walk you through exactly how to do this. So what you're gonna do first is start a timer, and we head straight to ChatGPT, to the Explore page, type in Relume, and start a new chat from this custom GPT. And so in this chat, we basically tell the AI what kind of website we want to build, and you can be as detailed or as simple as you want. It will anyway ask you follow-up questions, but I'm just gonna paste in here my description that I prepared before. So the website I'm gonna build is a real business website for FinPlay, which is a company that we're currently building. I've already established like the problems and everything, but you don't need to be as detailed as I'm here. You can just keep it very simple in one sentence. And so now that we're done, we're gonna hit enter and send the message, and then Relume will ask you for a follow-up question. So what type of website are we looking to build? And I'm just gonna put this in here. So in this case, I want to make a business/landing page website, like a one-pager, and I'm just gonna hit enter here again. And then it will ask you for another follow-up question, like what is your target audience for this site? And since I'm already established these details, I'm just gonna add that here. And you can add your own version, of course. And now as the final question is gonna ask us what we want to name the site and also where it is located. And we also gonna put that in really quickly. And then we are already done and are one step closer to our first sitemap. Now, if you're using this custom GPT for the first time, it will ask you for permission. So just make sure to allow that. And so now we have already completed the first step towards our new website, and we are ready to check out our first sitemap. So after you click this link, it will take you directly into Relume, and it will already generate the sitemap based on all the information that you provided. And already at this stage, we have a sitemap that we could present to the client, and this would in the past could have taken a few hours, depending on how complex your site is. And also the great thing about this is we can of course customize everything, we can rearrange everything. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm deleting a few of the extra pages because we are building a one-pager, so we don't need the blog page and the other pages. So we basically just need the home page. And here in the top section, I want to add a little logo section for some social proof. Always a good idea. And now I'm going to go through all the sections really quickly to see if we want to change or remove anything and see if it's all right. So down here at the bottom, we don't really need the newsletter section, so I'm gonna just delete that really quickly. And once we're happy with everything, we can click the wireframe button. But before we do that, small side note, I've been a fan of Relume for a few years now and I use it probably on a daily basis. So when they reached out to me asking if they can sponsor this video, I was super happy to say yes. I mean, I even have this little shiny badge saying that I'm an elder already, so I'm super happy to make this collaboration. Now back to the video. And so once we hit the wireframe button, it will automatically generate the wireframes in a few seconds. I think this is already amazing because we've taken like 3 to 4 minutes and we already have a wireframe that we can present. And of course we can already further customize it in here. We can change all the text. And what Relume does is it already generates some copy for you. And here I'm just gonna change the layout to something more centered, what I like in this case. And what I also want to do is to change the layout of the navigation on the top. So we're just gonna click it and pick another one from the library. And now I'm just gonna scroll down and see if there's anything else that we want to change here, probably. I think I want to change this layout, so let's see what we can use. So now one of the questions I had when I was using it is, what do I do if I'm not really satisfied with any of the layouts that are in here in this builder? There's another thing that we can do, and for this we just go to the dashboard here really quick, and I'm just gonna open it in another tab so we can jump back and forth. And now we're gonna head straight to the Webflow library, and I'm gonna show you a little secret that I've discovered is when you go like to the feature sections and you open the filters that you can check uncommon, and now it's gonna show you some more special layouts, some with more special interactions. And I found these to be the more interesting ones that you can use throughout your site. And now we're gonna look for something a little bit special. I think I like this here with the big typography. And we're just gonna remember the name in here, and we jump back to the wireframe. And so to change it, we just click the layout, open the panel in here, and we just type the number 484, and then we just change it. And by the way, if you want to preview a layout, we can just go back to the library in here and just click this little eye icon, and then it will open it in a preview window, like a preview site where you can just scroll through it. And here we have this nice fade in interaction, which I quite like. And so now we're basically gonna do this for all of the sites. So we go through all the components and think about what kind of layouts we want to use. And I'm just gonna fast forward this section because it takes a little bit of time. But at this stage, we don't need to make sure that every section is totally perfect. It just needs to be a rough draft that we can anyway customize later. So don't spend too much time on this, and I think we are almost finished now. Great, so now we're happy with all the wireframes and all the sections that we've implemented. We can go on to the next step, which is to create the style guide. So we go back here to the top and click the style guide button, and now what it's gonna do is it will apply some colors, typography, and so on to the existing layouts. And we can customize everything in here. We can customize the colors if we have an existing color palette, which we don't at the moment, but we can go in, play with all the colors and add also some colors. And I think this is really cool. We can switch between dark and light mode, which is great to see. Yeah, they also recently have added this more advanced typography styles. So you can go in there, pick whatever you want. From a huge selection, they have also recently increased the number of fonts available, so that is always great to see. And so this again doesn't need to be your final selection for the font, it can just be a starting point and you can like present to the client. And I think right now we're just gonna look for something that fits at the moment. And I think I'm gonna go for this one. And we also need a font for the body. So I just think we're gonna go for Inter right now. And what's also fun is they have like these shuffle buttons if you're unsure or if you just wanna explore a little bit. I think that's really cool. Of course, you can change the roundness of the buttons and everything. I think that's really neat. It lets you change between like edgy or round buttons, and also the same goes for the input fields. And you can basically select different shades for different sections here, which is neat. And we can just go through the site a little bit. Another feature that they've added really recently that I think is very, very interesting is this pitch concept feature where you can kind of create 3 different concepts. So if we just go back, open the dropdown here, we can duplicate this concept if you want to tweak it. Of course, we can also edit the images, remove the image and add some of our own images if we already have it or we created it in another tool. I'm just gonna shuffle it around a little bit and see if anything interesting comes up. I think this looks quite good and minimal. I think we're gonna go for that for now. Yeah, it looks good. And then if we head back to the pitch concepts page, you will see that we have the concept 2 in here, and we can view the full page if you want to show it to a potential client. So now we have this approach, and then we have the more minimal approach with black and white, and we can even make a third one if you want. And so for this one, I think we got just gonna create a new one. And again, I'm gonna shuffle here a little bit. And I think here we're gonna go for a more dark mode theme. And let's just go change the font size really quick. You can use bigger headlines, which is nice. And also, of course, customize the buttons again. But we're not gonna lose too much time in here. Just pick something that looks all right. We can anyway further customize in here, but I just want to show this pitch concept feature. And once we're happy, we can review all 3 of them. And I think that's a really cool feature. I'm very excited to see where they develop this further. And then once we're ready with our setup, we are ready to export it. We have different options. We can export it to Figma, Webflow, like HTML, and also text if you want to just send it in an email or something. But I'm not really using that so much. And what's also cool is you can export it to an Excel file. So it will generate you a full pricing list, which is very interesting. But for now, we're just gonna export it to Webflow. And here it tells you step by step what you need to do. So first we're gonna need to clone the style guide. And we're just gonna do that. Click on here, clone it to our Webflow workspace. And we're basically creating the site. So once that's done, we have our new site, but of course right now it's completely empty. So we need to load in our prepared layout that we did in Relume. So we're gonna just open the apps panel and install the Relume site builder app. Of course we need to log in, so I'm just gonna quickly do that. And once that's done, we're gonna head back and open our created layouts and wireframes. We just click on it, and then it's gonna ask us a few things. For example, which concept we want to use. Before we created 3 different concepts, and I think right now we're just gonna go with the concept 2. And then we have to select which pages we want to import, but since we only have 1 page, we just gonna select that and pretty much wait till the import is done. This can take a few minutes. And so now we're done with the import, and let's check it out. And the great thing about this is we already have a super great foundation for our website. So if we go through it, let's just quickly check the page. Of course, everything is there that we created from the layouts before. So let's quickly go through. We have already some hover interactions, and of course all the layouts that we created. And I think already at this stage, it's after not even 50 minutes, we already have a pretty decent foundation for a website. Which would normally take already a few hours. So I think that is mind-blowing. Of course, the site is fully responsive. So yeah, the next thing that we just need to do now is give it a little bit more personality. And for this, I'm just gonna go to add some custom fonts. So the first one I'm gonna use for the headlines is the font N27 from Atypo. It's a pretty affordable font. I think it's like $20 or something. So not free, but very high quality. And another one is the Geist font, which we're gonna use for the body. It's completely for free, a great font, highly recommend. So you can download it from here, and I think we're gonna just go back into the site settings and add these 2 fonts. And I'm gonna be back once I have added them. Great, so now that we've added these fonts to the site, we of course need to also change it inside the site itself. So we go back to the editor and go into the variables, and there under typography we can change everything globally, which is great. And I'm just gonna change these 2 headlines and the body. And I think already now it has a little bit more personality. And now we're gonna fine tune the headlines a little bit. So what I want to do is I want to make it a little bit bigger, the headline, and also the line height a little bit lower. So I think we're just gonna increase this a little bit and now decrease the spacing in here so it's a bit more packed. and use a different color for this subtext in here. And already there's a lot of styles existing in the file, which is great. We're just going to delete this button. And yeah, it looks a bit better already, but what I now want to do is focus a little bit more on the copy here. And I've already created something with Claude that I'm gonna share the prompt with you in here. And I really like this build better banking apps faster, so I'm gonna use that. And I already have created with Claude some text here for the subtext. And we're just gonna like paste this in here real quick. And what I also want to do is change the button text here to get started, but that's just a minor thing. And another thing that I want to add is like a little chip on the top here, like a hero chip. So I'm just gonna add a text here above the headline, and we're just gonna style it a little bit so that it looks a little bit better. And I'm gonna give this a class name of hero chip. We're gonna put in some copy here. And I think I go for this like the leading white label banking solution. And now I'm gonna style it a little bit, give it a shadow and everything. And I'm gonna be back in a second. Next up, what we're gonna do is we change the items in the navigation. So I think I don't need this drop down right here. And we're gonna change this to like features, pricing and login, I guess. Let's put this in here. And next up, what I'm gonna do also is change this button to match the other one, like the black one. And also we need to change the logo, of course. And I've already created the logo. I don't think this should be part of the 1 hour for the website because the logo design is another process. So I don't count this into the time here. And I'm just gonna add it in here right now. And what I just noticed is we need a little bit more space here between this chip and the headline. So I'm gonna quickly fix that. And I think we're pretty good in time. We still have 40 minutes, but I think we will need a lot of time for like some animations that I want to add. For example, I have an idea here for the hero section for a nice animation. But I think first we're gonna look at these sections right here because we still need to fill in the logos and some copy in here. So I think I'm gonna quickly do that. It's hopefully not gonna take too long. And then we also gonna look at the section right below so we can make some progress on that. So now I've added in all the logos that we hopefully can use on this page and change the typo a little bit. And so next up, we're gonna look at this section and think about how we can personalize it a little bit. I think we'll make the text bigger and also add some images into the text. This is always a nice effect. And I'll see you in a second. So this is the finished like section now. We have this small like hover interactions and I added the text also. And I think it looks quite nice. It looks a little bit more bold and it's a quite nice section. And now let's go to the next one. To not lose time, and here I want to make some like typical bento grid layout. So let's see how we can do this. First gonna delete this headline because we don't really need it, and then we change the layout of the cards a little bit. So we make this big one stretch through all the rows and then make the other ones like below it. Just gonna do this really quick. And so yeah, the layout is looking quite good. I'm just gonna style this a little bit. I think we're gonna go for some gradients here and also change probably the images. Let's see. So I didn't add some images just yet because maybe we also want to have some animations in here, but I styled everything and changed the text. And right now we're at the halfway point, so we really need to keep going. But I think next up we want to do the animations, especially for the hero section at the top and also the more down below for some sections. So we're just gonna do that now. And I'm gonna be back soon. So this took like a little bit over 10 minutes, but what I did was I started with some Jitter templates right here in Jitter, which is a really fast, great animation tool that I highly recommend. And here I took some screens from the app design that we already made, like our team, and another template that is like similar, but the screens just animate outwards. So I'm planning on using that as an on-scroll animation probably. And here are another couple animations I want to use. So these are all open source Jitter templates that you can also use. What I did here is change some of the typography and stuff, but quite nice for a finance app. Also these components I'm gonna use in some way, maybe desaturate the colors because right now it's very too colorful, but we'll see. And also this small thing that I want to add maybe for the bento boxes. And now before we do that, what I also would like to do is to change this button style a little bit because it's a little bit too generic, I think. And we give it some color. Guess we go for a gradient. I'm not quite sure exactly what the brand color is right now, but we're gonna use something like bluish green. And we're gonna add some like gradient color here. And I think I'm just gonna go for a, let's see if there's already something, but I think we're gonna add something of our own. And yeah, we're just gonna go here into greenish blue and pick something out of here. And the middle part, I think I want to make a little bit lighter. So we're just gonna copy this in here and make it a little bit lighter, like this probably. And on the other side, we're gonna use the same color. So now it's looking quite nice already, but we're gonna need to change the border to something a little bit different. Yeah, I think that looks quite good like that. And for this challenge, we're just gonna keep it. And so yeah, let's go through the site really quick. And so next thing I'm gonna do is add in all the Lottie animations and some images and contents. And let's see how much time we have left by then. So here's another quick thing that I wanted to show is I found on another website a little bit of inspiration for this kind of sticky navigation. And I think I want to recreate it for this website. So let's see if this will work. So some time has passed, I think a little bit over 10 minutes, and I tried to do everything as quickly as possible. I cleaned up some things. I added this little animation from Jitter, and I also got the button to navigation thing to work. And I cleaned some of the typography here, but no big changes. Then added some images and also the animations from the Jitter in here. So it all looks pretty good right now, I think. I added here a small animation that can be changed later. Here's a little on-scroll animation. Which I think is quite nice for this call to action here at the bottom. One thing that we still need to do is like to add a footer. So we're just gonna do that really quickly in the last couple of minutes before it gets too close to the end. And I'm just gonna fast forward this section again. So in the next part, I'm gonna show you the final website hopefully, and I'm quite excited how it will look in the end. So there we go, I added the footer and a little animation, and we still have 3 minutes left on the clock, so we're just in time. And also if you made it so far in the video, you really deserve to see the final result. So I think let's look at it. And there we have it. A complete SaaS website built in under 1 hour. It's all there, ready to go live or further customize. And remember, at any point in this process, you can choose to export to Figma for more detailed creative work, or continue working directly in Relume and then publish to Webflow. This way, you're never creatively constrained by the tools. Now let's talk a little bit about the juicy stuff, making money. How do I charge $10,000 for work that takes significantly less time than before? First, remember that clients aren't paying for your hours. They're paying for your expertise, creativity, and most important, the results that you deliver. With a lot of trial and error over the years, I discovered something. There are actually two critical components to building premium websites clients will happily pay $10,000 for. One is more time focused on high-value creative decisions, and two is strategic design that generates real business results. And so for this, I used the value ladder system from one of my previous videos. But basically it works like this. First, you have a free website audit where you showcase your strategic thinking. Then you have a paid strategy session of around $500 where you demonstrate your unique design perspective. Then you have the website build, which is $10,000 as we said before, where you actually deliver exceptional creative work. And then finally we have the growth partnership, which can be somewhere between $1,000 to $2,000 a month, where you actually go for ongoing design optimization, testing and so on. Now I know what you might be thinking because I had the same thoughts initially. Doesn't this diminish the value of my design skills? Absolutely not. Think of it like this. Professional photographers don't spend hours developing film anymore. They use digital tools to focus on composition, lighting, and creative direction. These tools don't replace your design expertise, they elevate it by removing the tedious parts of the process. And now lastly, you might be asking, will clients still value my work? And my answer would be this, even more so. When you can focus your creative energy on high value design and user experience rather than technical stuff, clients get better results. And better results are always valued more highly. Look, elevating your career as a designer doesn't happen overnight, but it can happen much faster than you think when you embrace tools that amplify your creative skills rather than replacing them. The most successful designers throughout history have always embraced new tools, from the printing press to desktop publishing to digital design tools. Each new technology has elevated the designer's skills in the long run. These AI design tools are probably the next evolution, but who knows? The question isn't whether they'll change the industry, it's whether you'll use them to unlock your full creative potential and make more money in the process. If you found this video helpful, consider subscribing and I'll see you in the next one.